All right. News for the 49ers off the field, not necessarily, well, not necessarily, not at all the kind of news that they like to hear during this 40-day span when they have completed OTAs and then they open training camp in July 22nd is when the veterans report. But here to kind of sort out and help us understand what's going on with Deommodore Lenoir and his situation is Bay Area criminal defense attorney Todd Bequette, longtime friend. Todd, thank you so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel.
Happy to be here, Matt.
Okay, so you've kind of done the research. You know what's going on. As a lot of people now know, the news is out there that Lenore was arrested in Los Angeles on Thursday and booked into to jail for obstruction of justice. What do you know about this? Oh, and it should be noted, you do not represent Deommodore Lenoir, so let's get that out of the way. But
Right.
you have vast experience in this field, so kind of tell us your overview and what you think of the situation.
Sure. Thanks. So I think it's important to note, first of all, where we are in the process. Mr. Lenoir, to my knowledge, has not been formally charged yet. He's been booked under the charges of obstruction of justice, which fall under Penal Code Section 148. Um, in the coming days, sometime before his scheduled court date of July the 25th, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office will evaluate the case based on the police reports and utilize their prosecutorial discretion and decide whether or not his conduct is worthy of criminal charges. If they are, the worst case scenario are misdemeanor charges against Deommodore Lenoir. Um, I mentioned the training camp date of the 25th of July. That's not in jeopardy. Worst case scenario, he's charged with a misdemeanor. His legal counsel can appear for him on that date. But
And let me just interrupt you.
sure.
Could he appear? Is there any advantage for him appearing if that date holds? Is there any reason for him to be there?
There's not. There are court appearances for which it is important for the defendant to appear to show, if nothing else, that you're taking the matter seriously and for the reasons you might expect. With an arraignment, misdemeanor arraignments are usually done, 100 on a given court calendar. They're very pro forma. So his attorney will no doubt advise him there's no reason for you to be here at all. The judge, if he has an attorney, which he will expect him not to appear.
Okay, so can you give me kind of from Lenore's standpoint, the best case and worst case scenarios?
Sure. So the best case scenario is that he is first of all not charged criminally. Um, and sticking with that criminal matter, the worst case scenario, I think, is he is charged criminally, and the case will no doubt resolve. It's not a case that would ever go to trial, I don't believe. I think the worst case scenario for him might be an admission to a misdemeanor and perhaps some probation. But that is truly the worst case scenario. Given what I know about the facts of the case, the police officers were investigating a vehicle that had a gun in it. That individual has been charged with the gun possession, so there's no question that Lenoir did not possess or own the gun. Someone tossed the car keys to Deommodore Lenoir, and if I were Mr. Lenoir, I'd have a chat with that guy about that. And then he proceeded to toss the car keys to someone else. So, I mean, is that technically obstruction of justice? I suppose, but I think if I were a betting man, I would say that he will not be charged initially. If he is, I think it's de minimis conduct.
Okay, so according to the reports, Lenore was arrested along with Marcus Cunningham, 25 years old. Cunningham was charged on the felony possession of a concealed firearm in a vehicle. So obviously, the felony charge much more serious than the misdemeanor charge right now. The 49ers released a statement. I'll have you comment on the statement. We are aware of the matter involving Deommodore Lenoir and are in the process of gathering further information. End of statement from the 49ers. That's just kind of a checking of the box of the 49ers to acknowledge that, yeah, we know about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, down the road, the 49ers will probably have an eye towards whether or not Deommodore could be suspended under the league's personal conduct policy. And they're probably getting out ahead of it, just letting the league know that, they're aware of it and it's on their radar. And obviously they don't approve of, however de minimis his conduct was, they don't approve of Mr. Lenoir associating with people who have firearms.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the NFL's policy on personal conduct. And the NFL states quite clearly that you don't have to be found guilty of a crime to fall under the discipline for the personal conduct policy. They also state in there that NFL personnel, whether it be players, coaches, staff members, whatever, are held to a higher standard than the general public. So, can you kind of give us your sense of where this falls with Lenore and the NFL's personal conduct policy?
Sure. So players can be suspended for conduct detrimental to the integrity and the public confidence of the NFL, which is very highfalutin language.
It's also
Um,
very vague, isn't it?
it is. But they do, the policy does get more specific, though. It does list just about every criminal offense under the sun for which players can be suspended. One of them is obstruction of justice. So if the question is, can he be suspended under the NFL's personal conduct policy? The answer is yes. But again, um, there is obstruction of justice, and then there is obstruction of justice. And I think um, if we have the straight scoop from the reports so far that his action was limited to tossing keys, um, I can't believe that the NFL would deem that act to be detrimental to the integrity and the public confidence of the NFL.
Okay. Have you ever seen, I mean, you've represented a lot of cases or been involved with a lot of cases. Anything kind of does this jog your memory of anything similar to this?
Um, no, I mean, well, yes and no. So it is frequently the case that officers arrest more than one person, right? When they when they come upon a car with a bunch of individuals in it and a firearm, they often arrest everyone in the car because no one admits it, and then they begin to interrogate the people, seeing if anyone will cop to the gun. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know how they identified Mr. Robinson in this case as the owner of the gun, but
Mr. Cunningham.
sorry, Mr. Cunningham. But I don't know whether he admitted to it or perhaps it was his vehicle. We don't know. It is at least a possibility that Mr. Lenoir was arrested prior to them gaining that knowledge. I'm speculating now, but it is. I think if this is the conduct that is in a police report that gets before a deputy district attorney who decides whether or not to charge him with a crime, I think the answer would be no.
Yeah. I mean, is there a little sense of maybe there are bigger fishes to fry?
I would think so. Yes,
Okay.
especially in Los Angeles County.
Yes. Okay. All right, Todd. So, big picture, big deal, no deal. Like kind of how's this fall on the spectrum?
It's not a big deal at all. And I realize I'm sitting in the chair of a criminal defense attorney, and I'm not advocating on his behalf, trying to be, as even minded as I can. I just don't think that this conduct will warrant prosecution from the LA County District Attorney's Office or a suspension from the NFL.
Mhm.
But that's a prediction, and we know about those.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I mean, I do know Deommodore, super guy. I think that, this is probably, I mean, it serve as like just kind of a scare. Like, he's got a lot to lose, right? And he does have a high profile. He has a higher profile now than he did last year. Than certainly he did, a higher profile last year than he did the year before. And we could just backtrack. His star is continuing to ascend. He was the Dwight Clark Award winner this year for just being, the ultimate teammate. So, and you're a 49ers fan, you follow the 49ers. So put on your sporting cap now with the background of being a criminal defense attorney. Give me your just 35,000-foot view of this.
Well, I mean, I believe he is nicknamed the hyena. Is that right?
That is correct.
So I want the hyena in the 49ers defensive backfield. And if I were John Lynch and Mike Shanahan, I would go to him,
Or Kyle Shanahan.
or Kyle. I mean, either one. I would go to him and say, listen, point out all the things you said about his higher profile status. The mistake he made was not playing keep away from the police officers with the keys. The mistake he made was hanging out with a guy that has a firearm in the first place.
Mhm.
Right. So, and from what you said, he's a kid with a good head on his shoulders, and hopefully he will receive that message.
Absolutely. All right, Todd, thank you so much. Hey, Todd, by the way, you're a damn good writer as well, an author of how many books now?
The fourth is coming out next March.
And
Thanks for the plug, Matt.
yes, and a great novelist. And yeah, just tell me about your books.
Oh, well, so I'm a criminal defense attorney, and naturally I write murder mysteries.
Of course.
Sure. So you can find the Joe Turner mystery series on Amazon.
All right, Todd Beckett, thank you for shedding some light on the Deommodore Lenoir situation, and I will see you down the road, my friend.
Sounds good, Matt. Thanks.